Finally. Here we are. All right. Good morning. How are you all? I see we have now 68 people on Instagram and starting to add up also on Zoom finally that I connected. And we have 26, 27, 28. All right, guys. As we did last week, we're going to start with a little bit of a minute of silence and, memory the people that have lost their lives to this terrible virus and also the people, their relatives and friends, families, and the sick also that they're battling this right now, to give them power, to give them health, to bring them light in their lives. So let's close our eyes for a second as everybody finishes to join in. Okay, good morning. How is everybody? Hope you're feeling great. I hope you apply some of the things that we've spoke last week here and it served you well. I recommended a few books. I got messages from a bunch of people from different places saying that they have been starting reading those books already and have great things to say about it. We are going to cover something that is, I think, super important right now in these moments. I think that right now we're going through so much uncertainty. Again, we are bombarded with the news, and we're bombarded with all fear-driven news, things that we see out there. Everything is very scary right now. You go a little bit in the street, you go to the markets, you see people with masks, you see people with gloves, and all that just generates that bad feeling inside. It makes you feel like what's going on, and there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of mixed messages out there and everything. So since we discussed last week that we're going to focus on the things that we have control as opposed to the things that we don't have control over it, I think one of the things that we have a lot of control is the thoughts that we're going to put in our mind. And one of the things that has helped me battle through crises like this, and different crises. There are different crises in the world, personal crises, the crisis of the financial crisis that we had in 2008. One of the things that has kept me strong and kept me together at all times is what we're going to cover today, which is called faith. And I'm not talking about faith from the point of view where religious point of view, because a lot of people relate faith only with the religious meaning of it, which is nothing wrong with it. But I'm talking about more of what faith is: faith on yourself, faith on the world, faith in God, faith in your friends in your family, faith on your children, faith on the universe, faith on everything, right? Because I strongly believe that when you have faith, you have no fear. And for those that have come to my seminars or have heard me talk about this before, all the classes that I do for my company, the agency, on the Think and Grow Rich, for example, a course that we do once a year, I like to talk about how fear and faith, they cannot coexist. Fear is something that you can make it more real than what really is. So if you want to get rid of fear, you really need to strengthen your faith. And we're going to cover a few exercises and a few tricks that I developed through these times, and that I apply from other teachers that I learned from, like Tony Robbins, and there's so many Les Brown, and so many teachers out there that have spoke about this, and it actually I apply it to my life and it works. So faith, if you have faith, you can't be fearful about it. It's like having oil and vinegar, right? You cannot mix them. So if I had to choose what I'm going to have, I'm going to choose to have faith as opposed to fear. But when you choose to do that, you can't be like going back and forth. You need to do it. And believe me, I have moments, I had actually a moment this week. I had a day where I woke up and I was a little depressed. I was like, just opening up to you, I didn't feel like getting up. I didn't feel like doing my morning routine. I didn't feel like, I didn't know what's going on, and the uncertainty. And of course, I've been dealing with my business, my personal business, and I have lost some escrows that I have selling some houses. And then you get calls from clients that are stressed out. And then I lost, some money on an investment that I did. Unfortunate. So, when you get hit and hit and hit and hit, by life, but what happens, you get bummed out, and I get bummed out. And one of the things that helps me get into my track again, helps me get into my routine. Everything is just follow these steps that I've been following for now 12, 13 years. So, one of the definitions that I like about the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which is an amazing book that I highly recommend all of you guys read it. And if you read it already, read it again. I read it many times, and every time I read it, I find something interesting and something new. And when you read a book and you read it again, you find things that you didn't understand before, but that's because you change. You developed, you become something else. And so the message that wasn't, there was in the book last year, but you didn't really pay attention to it, now you're going to pay attention, and you're going to take advantage of that. So I'm going to read here a definition of faith by Napoleon Hill on the book Think and Grow Rich. It says, faith is the state of mind which might be created or induced by affirmations or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind. So there are exercises that I practice through the years that help you develop faith. Some of them are a little crazy. I have friends like, Jeff Sandorf, Cy Morsh, that have come to work out at the gym with me. And I used to go to the gym late at night for this simple reason. I didn't like people to be around me, because I used to get in the treadmill and repeat my goal of whatever goal I have, whether it's monetary or how many houses I want to sell, or anything that you set a goal on. And I used to go on the treadmill for like 20 minutes and literally repeat out loud over and over and over and over and over and over what I was going to do. And what is this going to do? What it does is, like, it puts in your brain, and you hear yourself saying it. And when you hear yourself saying it, you just, your subconscious mind speaking it up. And if you repeat and you repeat and you repeat, but not only just repeating and repeating and repeating like a recorder, but if you repeat it and you add emotions to it, if you actually, while you're repeating this, you're feeling what's going to feel when you get there, or you feel like what you're going to buy when you get there, or where you're going to be when you get there, and you start emotionalizing all these feelings, then believe me, it starts developing a strong sense of faith in you that basically gets you to believe that you can actually achieve that. And your subconscious mind buys into that. You soak it up, and then that you're gonna achieve that, And I can tell you, year after year, and I mean, I remember yelling in the treadmill, and I remember side of Jeff will go by, and then they looked at me and like, what the hell are you doing? But I remember year after year. I mean, when I started doing this was 2012. And from 12, 13, 14, and 15, that I repeatedly say these goals, and I did it, I actually was able to achieve to the dime those goals. And I have them written, and I have them all, I have all documented. I mean, that's what's really, really, really important, guys. If you don't have it right now, buy a journal. It's super important to have a journal, because you write everything up. I mean, I have many journals that I write things up. I remember when I was meeting with Mauricio and Billy to join the agency, and we were talking about what we're going to do. I mean, I just found that this list last night, notes from that. And when you go back to your journals and you see things that you have written, goals that you have set, and then you actually achieve them, it creates a tremendous amount of confidence in yourself, because you said, oh, wow, I said I was going to do that, and I actually did it. So let's see what can I do now. So that's one of the most important things that I think you can do to develop faith right now. So one of the other things that I do is, besides the affirmations or incantations that you call when you repeat and repeat yourself, is record yourself. I used to be driving my car around town, and I would have a nice thought or something that I wanted, and I just open my iPhone and go into the microphone and record something that I wanted to hear later. Or if I got inspired by something, I will just go and record it and repeat it and record it. And and then I will go and hear it again. If I'm going in a run, I will put all those recordings together, and I'll just put my headphones and go to the beach and take a run, and I'll be listening to my own voice saying the things that I said it when I was inspired, when I was feeling good. And it's incredible, you know. I mean, you'll hear yourself saying those things, and it makes you think, wow, today I'm feeling down, but that day I was feeling great because I'm saying things that I don't think that I can do right now. But if I was at a point where I actually believe that I could do it, I'm just having a bad day. I need to shake this off. And all these things that you do, you have control over it, right? Everything else that's out there, you don't. So if you can control this, and I mean, believe me, this takes time, recording yourself, writing your journal, creating goals, repeating yourself, all these things that we're talking, it takes time. It's going to fill up slots in your day. And then you're going to realize that out of the sudden you feel good. You know, you wake up feeling good. I mean, this week I was feeling a little down. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday, I was feeling a little down. And today I say, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to choose not to feel that way. And I'm going to get up and I'm going to go on a run. And that's what I did this morning. And it was cold. And again, you know, your mind tries to always talk you out of things. I was like, oh my God, it's so cold. It's so humid here right now in the area where I live. It rained all night. And it's cold. As you can see, I'm like in my jacket. But you know what? Those things are perfect tests for your ability to say, I command this body. My mind is the one that sets what I want to do. And I just got out there and I went on an amazing run and I saw the birds and I see the clean air and I was breathing and I did my exercise. I came back, I took a shower, and I'm here now with you guys and I'm feeling great and I want to share that with you because I think we all have the ability to do that. We have the ability to, like, in an instant change the way we feel, in an instant take control of our lives. No one else is going to do it for us, okay? So once you develop a strong amount of faith, what's going to happen is you habituate your life to live like this, whether you do the incantations, and you need to see what works for you. You know, you don't need to go on a treadmill and run and scream like me over and over 100 times, 200 times the goals that I wanted to achieve. And that you know, that's something that I did because I was like, I'm going to try that and see how uncomfortable I feel. And then I actually liked it and I saw the results year after year. So I continued to do it. So what is key? Again, I'm going to repeat one more time. You need to emotionalize those thoughts, okay? You think and you feel it. If you think about where you're going to be when you come out of this thing and you organize your business and how it's going to feel. I mean, let's do something like a super simple exercise. Let's say they say that by the end of the month, everybody's going to go back to normal. I'm sure you have in your mind a restaurant that you want to go and visit that you haven't been able to go. I'm sure you're going to want to visit someone that you've been wanting to visit that you haven't had a chance to visit. I'm sure you're going to want to get together and do a barbecue or get together with friends. And what's that going to feel like? What's going to feel like having these people, having your family come in and visit your house? And if you really close your eyes and start imagining what that's going to be like, you're going to start emotionalizing all that thing. And the longer you can stay in that place, the faster it's going to happen and things are going to get that way. So that's what we need to do right now to go through this. And this is what works for me. And I think it works for everybody. So I'm going to read a couple of notes that I've taken here through the years and a couple of quotes also that they're amazing from different people that I really admire. One of them is here by The Rock, you know, and this comes a little bit together with sometimes surrendering, you know. I mean, the book that I recommended last week talks about this, by Michael Singer, the Surrender Experiment. And surrender in a sense that sometimes we fight and we're going against the stream when we need to do is just relax and float with the stream. You know, The Rock says here, have faith that the one thing you wanted so bad to happen oftentimes is the best thing that never happened to you. Think about that for a second. Sometimes we fight so much for something to happen. We like want that so bad and so bad and so bad and so bad. And, you know, it doesn't happen for a reason, you know. I mean, you might be focusing on that one thing so much that is not letting you think or look at the thing that actually is meant to be for you. So sometimes when things are not happening our way and we try, I'm not saying like, oh, it's not happening, just sit down and wait until what's going to happen. But when you try your best and things are not going your way, when you try your best and things doesn't seem to be, going accordingly, just take a minute and open your eyes and ask yourself a question. Ask yourself a question like, is this really what I need? Why is this meaning so much for, to me? Why is this so important? And start asking questions to yourself. And then you're going to start, thinking about, wow, no, maybe that's better for me. So you need to can sometimes surrender and wait a second and see that there might be a reason why things are not happening. And also, like Tony Robbins says, everything happens to you. It happens for a reason. Life happens for you, not to you. And when people go like, oh, why did this happen to me? I don't deserve this, or why me? And all these things, it's not that. It's why don't you just kind of turn it around and things like, oh, this happened to me. Why? What's the meaning on this? Let's sit down and think for a second on maybe there's a reason why things are happening like that. Maybe there's a reason why we all going through this. It's got to be a reason that is more powerful than fear that we're feeling right now of getting sick or what's going to happen with the economy. It's got to be a bigger reason on why this all is happening. And it's our duty and it's our job to find out what for us individually is all this happening, So that's a really good quote that I heard from The Rock, and it's one of the guys that I follow on Instagram, and I listen a lot to his videos. If you go on YouTube, he's got amazing motivational videos. So what I'm going to do right now, just to kind of make it a little different from last time, is I'm going to open it up a little bit for questions. I'm going to have 4 questions from Instagram, 4 questions from Zoom, and then we're going to go back and continue to talk about what faith and how you can apply that a little bit more. So I'm going to start with Zoom over here, Q&As. Let's see. Let's go actually. There's not that many questions here on Zoom right now. Oh, here they are. Okay, so here's Paloma Andres. Says, hi, Santiago. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. When you talk about repeating yourself, what do you want to manifest? How far-fetched are you? Are the goals big, picture and thematic, or a small step you can accomplish within the month, for example? And how you bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be? Okay, that's an amazing question. So Paloma, what I do and what I've done is I repeat what my yearly goal is going to be. I'm going to give you an example. I set a goal of how many, how much volume I want to sell on houses. Okay, and that obviously comes in millions. Because where I do real estate here in California, as you know, the prices are high. So I set a goal of, I'm gonna sell $100 million this year by the end of the year. But what I actually do is I do it in this way. I am selling $100 million by the end of this year. So it's an action that is happening. So your subconscious mind actually believes that better. So that's how I do it per year. But I do have monthly goals. I do have, every 3 months goals, and I have goals, half of the year goals. You need to have a bunch of different goals that get you to that final goal. But when you're doing, the repetitions, I think you want to keep it short. It's like, how much you want to sell this year as a real estate agent? This is how much I'm going to sell. And I repeat that and repeat that. Does it make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Here, I'm going to jump to Instagram. So we're going to do one-on-one. Tim Conway, what do you produce about the market? Will you go back or down or jump high after the coronavirus? What I'm understanding from this is like, what my opinion is on the market. Look, I mean, it's hard to predict what's going to happen. This has never happened. But if I had to guess, I think once we come out of this, we're going to probably go in a down market. I mean, markets are cyclical, and here in California, we've been due to go to a down cycle, and we've been waiting for that, and for different reasons, and incentives that the president has been doing and bringing rates down and all that kind of stuff. The economy is held longer than what we expected it, but I think that this situation right now has just got us there, which was going to happen sometime. Now, what the magnitude is going to be now that people are not working, and it might be a little harder than what we were expecting, and it might be a little longer than we're expecting. I'm expecting, a couple of years after coming out of the coronavirus of an adjustment where prices are going to probably go down. And, like any cycle, we will go down and then we'll come up out of it. That's my personal opinion, though, and I could be really wrong, but that's what I'm thinking based on my experience and what I see. Let me go back to Zoom. Another question. Stefan Pomepui. Hola, Santiago. Perhaps share with us the importance of celebrating the little victories along the way. Examples of what I do for that. Stefan, good that you're here, man. I miss you. Celebrating little victories is super important. I mean, I'll give you examples of when I close a deal, I like to go to have a nice dinner. I like to take my clients to celebrate on a nice dinner. I like to take my wife or my family or do something that I give back to myself. If it's like a super important sale or something that I work really hard for it, and I kind of go on in a gratitude mode, and as a representation of what I've done and my achievement, I either buy something for myself or take myself on a trip or something, because I think it's important to celebrate little things. And it can be anything from opening an escrow. People sometimes says, oh, you sold the house, you open an escrow, but don't celebrate yet until you close it. Yes, don't get too uber excited, and don't spend the money before you actually made it. But it's important to celebrate when you open an escrow, because it's a step number one. When you remove the contingencies, it's a step number two. And eventually when you close, yes, it's great. There's a bigger celebration, but I think you need to celebrate every single step. That gratitude is going to just elevate your vibration at all levels, okay? So great question, Stefan. Let's go back to Instagram here. Yeah, that's a good question here from Lisa Girly Girl. That's a cool name. She's asking me that, Santiago, when you return to somewhat normal routine, what will you continue from this reset we've had in your daily life? I often think of that myself. Don't take this for granted. Yes, I mean, obviously, we're going to go back to our somehow normal life. But it's super important. I think that right now, because we're going through this situation, I'm sure we're learning new things. I'm learning new things. I've never done this, what I'm doing right now. I'm being able to share the way I feel and my experiences right now, my ups and my downs. And yes, definitely, I want to go back and I want to implement new things. I mean, the whole idea, I think, of going through pain and going through difficult times is to grow and to learn. And I'm growing and I'm learning a lot through this process. And I would be foolish to go back to my normal life and go back in the way how I was doing some things that I actually noticed now that I was doing wrong. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement. And I think when you go back, yes, you go back to your routine. I will go back to my routine of waking up at 4:30 in the morning and be in the gym when it opens. But I'm going to implement certain things that I'm doing right now that I didn't do before. So that's the answer to that. Let's go to another one here with Zoom. Let's see, we have here. Okay. All right, this is a great question, Eric Haskell. How are you, buddy? Says, Santiago, do you revise your goals or mantra with the COVID situation? Absolutely. I mean, I can think of a better place to review it more often. I mean, this is the time where you need to reinforce on that. I'm talking about the things you have control. Just wake up every morning and read your goals out loud. Before you go to bed, read your goals out loud. Just be aware that those goals, are still there. They can be taken away. Second. The fact that you have your goals and things change around you, they cannot discourage you. I mean, one of the things that I don't know if Steve Scholl, my real estate coach, is in here, but I remember I had in 2015 a goal of selling 500 million, and I was not getting there. And so 2016 came, and I was talking to him in my office, and I'm like, look, I sold $380 million last year. I tried to sell 500 this year, but I got stuck at 420, I think it was, in 2016. And I said, should I lower the goal? Should I? And he yelled at me. He's like, no, you can't lower your goal. If you didn't do 500 in 2016, you need to carry that goal to 2017. And if you don't do it, carry that goal until you achieve it. And it's okay. It's okay not to, so many times I have goals that I don't get there. But the fact that you set a goal that is high enough, which is a challenge, but it cannot be too easy, but it cannot be unreal. But if it's something that is doable, but is challenging and it's hard for you, that's the kind of goal you want to set. And sometimes you don't accomplish those goals, and that's okay. It's okay not to get there. And then you analyze why you didn't get there. And then there are things that happen that maybe you need to tweak a little bit. And then next year you'll do better. And eventually you'll get there. And then when you get there, then you can adjust your goal to go in a different way. So let's go to Instagram. Last question for Instagram for now. We'll do a few more questions at the end. Okay, Crusade Realogy here is asking, how old were you when you sold your first house? The first time I sold something, I was 26. Yeah. Let me think about it. 24. No, the first time I sold something I was 26. That's correct. And I was a condo. I was working at a restaurant, and one of the waiters that used to work with me, super cool guy, Mick Tyre from Australia. We started talking, we became friendly. He told me that he had a condo, that he was planning to move back to Australia, and he asked me if I would you help him. I was like, my God, I told you never ask. and we went to look at his condo. We used to work in this restaurant very close to his condo. And I listed the condo, and I was able to sell it successfully. I actually was sitting on an open house on a Sunday, and this lady, client of mine also now, Lisa, walked the place. She was so nice. We got along really well. She was interested. She wrote an offer, so I ended up double-ending that first deal, which was a really, really empowering experience. Let's go to Zoom here for another question from Cristovão Matos. I'm assuming Portuguese or Brazilian. How are you, man? Hi, Santiago. You are an awesome inspiration for all of us. Thank you. Could you please talk about your drill down your goals? How do you plan daily, weekly? What's your system for planning? I think I covered this for a second, but I repeat it. I have daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals. I set a number of different goals, and I write all of them down, that eventually all those take me to the big goal. That's the way I do it. I mean, that's how it works the best. All right, let's stop for the questions for a second, and let's go back to to what I had to say today. Self-confidence. How important is self-confidence? And this ties a lot of elements, right? How can you gain self-confidence? Growing up when I was a kid, I did not have the self-confidence I have right now. And it's something that I decided one day that I wanted to create. I wanted to develop that. I was a very skinny kid that wasn't very good at a lot of sports. And I did not have confidence on myself in certain things. I had confidence in other things. I was always happy and funny, and I was like the clown of the class and stuff like that. But there were certain things that I wasn't feeling confident about myself. And at a point in time in my life, I said, if I want to get confidence, I need to do it myself. So I started to go to the gym. I started to work out. I started to creating routines that will get me to feel good about myself. And that's why I think the exercise is such an important thing, and not from the looking good point of view, or like looking perfect point of view, which is important to look good and feel good. But you're just going to wake up in the morning and get out of the shower, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you feel good about yourself. You feel good that you exercise, you feel healthy, you eat healthy. I think if you feel good in the morning, that sets the tone for the whole day. So you need to start developing that self-confidence, that you can do things. And a lot of times, we doubt ourselves or this or that, But that's why everything that we're discussing here, the exercises and that will help you develop the self-confidence. I'm going to read you something over here that I wrote down. All we need to do this to make the decision that we will achieve the goal or become what we want to become. And believe you will, and it will happen. But you cannot hesitate on doubt. Once you make your mind and decision, the universe will correspond. So once you set a goal, once you make a decision to do something and you actually take action, you can't hesitate. You can go back. You cannot, have that little hesitation, because it just changes the energy of things. If you set your mind and you say you're going to do something, you got to go full force, full pedal, and believe that that's going to happen. Will happen, maybe it won't happen. We're talking actually about the goals, and I know it gets really confusing, but while you're doing it, you just do your best. When you're doing that, you just don't hesitate, just go full force. Where you get at the end, you might not be at your goal, but you might be really close to your goal. I mean, if your goal is to sell 50 million and you get to 45, I mean, are you going to be bummed out? I don't think so. I think you're going to be good, So, there are no limitations to the mind except those that we acknowledge. So if you acknowledge that you cannot do something, or something is too hard, that's something that you put in the back of your mind. That's a limitation that you created. So I think that is a key element to don't limit yourself. And if you're having those thoughts, find a way how to shake them out. When I'm having negative thoughts, when I'm feeling bad, and a lot of people have heard me say this before, I like to get out of the vibration that I'm there. Like if I'm in my office and I get a very bad call, or something happened, or a client was buying something, decide not to buy it, or anything like that, and then I get another call and I just feel like, I'm being bombarded with this bad energy, we could call it. I need to get out and shake that out. So oftentimes what I do is I just get out, go on a run to the beach, and I jump in the ocean. And why do I do that? Why is that I like to jump in the cold water in the ocean? Because that's an indicator to me. That's a way to show that I wanna switch that energy. I wanna change that, and that's something that I have control. I mean, when I'm going into the ocean early in the morning at 6 a.m. and it's dark, it's amazing how the mind tries to sabotage. I mean, the many thoughts that I have, like maybe it's a shark in there that I cannot see. Maybe the water is dirty, it's cold, and as you put your first toe in the water and it feels so cold, that every single part on the cell in your body is telling you, don't do this, you're going to get sick, it's too cold, why you don't need to do this, you just got a great run, you don't, but if you actually said, I know that this doesn't make sense, but I'm going to jump in the water because that's what I want to do, and I jump in the water, is symbolically shows me that I have control. We do have control of our lives. Nobody else does. We have the choice to change, to do that. So let's go back into something that I think is super important, because oftentimes I hear people saying, and they say, yeah, but I come from this place, or this happened to me when I was a kid, or I don't have enough of that, or I don't have the resources. One of the amazing things that Tony Robbins said that I just love a lot is, we don't lack resources. What we lack is resourcefulness. We need to be resourceful to be successful. And it's not about the resources we have, because if we have resourcefulness, we create the resources, okay? So how great is that? Sorry, I don't know what I did here. 1 second. No matter what happened to you, no matter what someone told you when you were growing up, whether you could do this or you couldn't do that, sometimes we go to schools and we have a teacher that told you that you couldn't do something, and that just got recorded in your brain and it's make a difference in your life. Someone told you wouldn't be able to do that, you wouldn't be able to achieve that or whatever, and I just don't believe in that. You don't believe in what people told you, what you can do or not. They're not the owners of your life. You need to decide what you can do, what not, what's possible or not. So no matter what happened to you, no matter what someone told you, it doesn't matter. Don't let someone's opinion become your reality, okay? If you do what's easy, and this is amazing, I love this. This phrase is amazing. If you do what's easy today, your life will be hard tomorrow. If you do what's hard today, your life will be easy tomorrow. So work hard, set your goals, do your exercises. It will pay off. Trust me on this one. Develop faith. Faith is the most important thing that we can have right now. And you come off sometimes. I mean, I came off this week. I was talking to my wife last night. And sometimes it happens. You're human. Everything overwhelms you, and but it's how quick you can get back in. And that's our choice. How quick can we jump back into the train of being positive and being where we are and we were supposed to be. So that's for today. I hope that was helpful. Thank you. I see on Instagram we had the amount of people that have stayed with me and bear with me, and I appreciate it. It's been about the same number. So is my friends at Zoom. Love you guys. Love you all. Thank you for supporting here. I want to open up for a few more questions. I'm going to do another 4 questions from Instagram and another 4 questions from Zoom, and then we'll be good to go. So let me start with Instagram here. I have here, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing the names correctly, but Hassan Cooler, he's been asking a lot of questions. Sorry, man. I'm going to answer this one that says, do you have any fears personally or about the market? How do you conquer your fears? I mean, I think this whole conversation and this whole chapter was exactly that. Yes, I do have fears, of course. But I try to block those fears with faith, and I have faith that no matter what happens, no matter what the state of the market is, no matter what the economy is, no matter any of that, I'm going to be okay. And I proved that before. I don't know if I told you last week, because I had a few Zoom conferences and things that I've been doing, but I was talking about there was a moment in my life in 2008 when I finally started to do good, and I finally started to make money, and I finally stopped working at the restaurant. I was just doing real estate. And then 2008 hit us, and it was a very difficult market, and it was a lot of challenges for me. And I started to spend my savings, and I started to wonder. I started to, the mind, that's what mind does. I wonder what's going to happen. I mean, 2008 was so bad, all 2009. And I was like, I maybe need to go back and to the restaurant. I need a part-time job to get some cash to pay some of the bills, and then just see how, when things get better, I'll go back to just doing real estate. But that's exactly what the mind does. That's what it wants you to do, is like, let your fear take you there. And fear is so powerful, and it's so contagious, and it just goes in your mind and it spreads, and it's so bad that the only way to fight that is with faith. And that's why I chose that to be the topic today. Because I remember I parked in this restaurant, and I pull over my car, and I was about to drop an application. It was in Venice, I think, in Abbot Kinney. And as I was about to get out of my car, something inside me said, "What are you doing? Why are you going backwards?" And I remember, and I think I said this last week. Now I'm remembering. I'm sorry for those that have to hear it again, but it's just such a powerful moment in my life that I said, "You're not gonna give up. You got to continue to go." And I remember getting in my car and going door knocking for 3 hours in my favorite neighborhood. And that was a changing moment in my life. That moment changed everything. Like, automatically things are starting to happen, and it doesn't really matter. It was a bad economy. It was bad. I mean, I built my career in the last crisis we had. So that was a perfect example that no matter what happens out there, you control your life and you're going to be okay. So I hope that answers your question. Let's go here. One from Zoom. Catherine Nicholson, how are you? Hi, Santi. Can you talk about how you disconnect, what you do to take breaks during the busy weeks? Okay, that's a great question. Disconnecting is a great thing. One of the best ways to disconnect is turning off your phone. Some of my friends, like James Harris, which, I had the privilege to go on vacation with him and spend a great time with his family and my family, sees how disciplined I'm on disconnecting. When, we're on vacation, I just put my phone on airplane mode, and I bring it with me because I want to take pictures, or I just leave it in the safe of the hotel. And he's many times asking, how can you do that? Or he'll come to my house and we're having dinner and he sees my phone and he's like, hey, you have 5 text messages. So you have these many emails. And he's like, you're not going to read them? I'm like, no, I'm with you. I'm having a good time. We're having a barbecue. Whatever is in there is going to be okay, if I respond in a few hours or respond tomorrow. So I think one of the best ways to disconnecting is that. And I wasn't very good at it. I was looking at my phone all the time, but you got to make an effort to do it. And you just need to do it. And you'll realize once you do it that the world will continue if you don't, constantly looking at your phone and you're like worry about this whole thing. As a matter of fact, oftentimes when I disconnect, when I turn off my phone, or when I go and I dedicate certain time to my family or myself, you come back and you turn on your phone and it's actually good news. There's a lot of good stuff that happen there because you release that stress that you have, that, oh, I want this to happen so bad, and you're like so into it. And once you disconnect, that goes away, and then things just flow, and then you come back and you'll see that, everything's okay. So I hope that answers your question, Catherine. Let me see here. David Perez, what's up, man? Oh my God, I hope you're doing amazing. I remember I met David in Laguna Beach. We went for a weekend actually to disconnect with my wife, and we walked after. We went out and we walked into a place on a corner that were selling gyros, Greek gyros, and in the line with us was David Perez, who was coming out of a restaurant. He was a waiter at the time, and we talked for a little bit. We exchanged information, and he was getting into the real estate business. I gave him a few tips, and he kept in touch with me. And I kept giving him tips, and now he's doing great. I know he's selling a lot. And buddy, this is a time where probably you are like I was in 2008, 2009. You felt like you were just starting to get a hold of this, and now this happened. Don't get discouraged, man. I went through it. You can go through it. You're doing amazing. I don't know if I still have the business card you gave me, but I do have your contact information in my contact. So I guess that's the same. So that's a simple question. So let's go to the next one here. Okay, I don't have any more questions in Zoom, I guess, because, most of them are people that I work with and we've been talking a lot. So I guess they got sick of hearing from me. But let's continue with the Instagram ones. Andres Garcia, what is your current routine to keep up with clients and keep building a pipeline for when this is over? Huge fan and inspiration. Thanks, Andres. Appreciate it. You definitely need to keep up with clients. I mean, you need to talk to your clients. I mean, a simple text, you got to somehow connect with them, keep in touch, talk to them, tell them what you're doing. I mean, you might not be doing things that you're not allowed to do right now, but you can be doing other things. And I think it's important that we connect with the clients and we're talking, every week you should talk to your clients about what the status of their properties are, if you have listings with them and what you've been doing. It's super important to talk to the clients and also to build new business, new clienteles. I mean, we cannot sit open houses right now, but we might be able to do cold calling or any other tools that we have as real estate agents, Let's go back here and see. Okay, this is a good question, I think. Reed Safel, he's asking how many months of financial reserves do you keep on average? I mean, I think this is a very personal question. Not that I don't want to answer, but I'll rather answer from a point of view that is more a recommendation of what you should do. I think that at minimum, you should have 3 months of reserve. You have to save and have reserves for times where your income might not. We are commission driven business, so there's times that you make more and times you don't, and that's why it's important to don't spend more than what you have. and always put aside money. And you need to put aside money for taxes, and you need to put aside money for savings. So yes, and it's a lot. I mean, especially here in California, you pay a lot on taxes, but you got to pay it. So might as well every check, just grab the piece that's going to be from the taxes and put it in a different account. So that's there and you don't touch it and you don't have to worry about it. And then grab another piece and save it for your savings for your family and emergencies. I think that actually, I want to change that. 3 months is not enough now. That was something that I used to do before. I think 6 month reserves is great. I mean, the more the better, but at minimum 6 months of reserves of your lifestyle. One of the things that I recommend people do right now is just go through your statements of your credit cards or your bank. A lot of us, I mean, I'm a perfect example, sign up to things that we don't really need right now, like an additional app that does this or does that. Or just if you go through your statements, you're going to see there's a lot of stuff that you can, recurring costs that you can cut off for now. And the goal, is very simple economics. You need to turn down a little bit the faucet that gets out the water to come out from the, well, it wouldn't be from the tub. And then you need to kind of like every income that is coming right now, save it and be very careful with it, that would be my answer on that. Okay, 2 more questions and we're done. Let's see, this is kind of similar to what somebody else asked. GPLA. Adam Crown, what's my favorite wine? Well, Memento Mori, of course. Let's see here. Okay, Vero Monsenco is asking me in Spanish, Santiago, ¿dónde iniciaste la carrera de real estate? Where do I started my career of real estate? Here, I started here in Los Angeles, in Beverly Hills. And last one, and I'll let you guys go. Let me pick a good question here. Wait a moment. Okay, this is a question from Carador 5SX. I'll call you by your name, but obviously I cannot read it right now. But it says, with the amount of volume you do, why would you stay with an agency as opposed to your own owner brokerage? I think that's a personal decision, whether you want to own a brokerage and be on your own, or you want to be part of a bigger company. I mean, there are different reasons why you would want to be part of a big company, and there are reasons why you want to kind of go on your own. And I think that's personality driven and a personal choice. So thank you guys. This was great. Can't believe it's almost 11. I know you all have the busy schedule that you've been setting up for yourselves to keep busy during these times. I will see you next week, next Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. If you guys have questions and you want to send me messages to Instagram or email or whatever, feel free to do so I can think about or anything that you guys would suggest that I cover next week, and I'll do my best. I mean, I'm not a guru here. I'm a regular man that I'm trying to share my experience with you and see if that can become of any value. Thank you again. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you next week. Okay, I finished the Instagram video here, but I still have the thing. I want to read a little bit of the chat here for the Zoom people. What's up, guys? Thank you, Brad Simpson, Cindy, thank you, Matt Klein, Josh Tashan, Jill Nelson, all of you guys. Thank you so much for being part of this. I can believe that you still want to hear from me. You hear so much from me, but you still want to hear from me. Thank you. I miss you. Soon we'll be hanging out again together in person. But at least, technology is so great that we get to do this, and I get to to see you and exchange information and know that you're all good and you're doing great. Mackenzie, Cynthia, Mo, thanks, man. Appreciate it. All of you, thank you for being here. I hope this was hopeful, or at least entertaining. See you soon.